Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. One of the main things I wanted to talk about was just my confusion over Uber Eats base pay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but there are so many channels that talk about DoorDash and DoorDash only, or 90% of the time DoorDash. There's so many news channels about DoorDash. DoorDash is always in the news. DoorDash is the one with all the drama. DoorDash is the one with the strikes. And I get it, I understand, but I have been doing Uber Eats and DoorDash for a year. I've been doing DoorDash, and in about a month or so, I will have been doing Uber Eats for a year. So I've been doing both, and I do prefer Uber Eats over DoorDash, not because of anything to do with the pay, but just because the simplicity of the Uber Eats app. But that's not what this video is about. So there's so much talk about DoorDash base pay, and I know I feel horrible for the people whose base pay was dropped to $2.25. I think for the majority of the country, the base pay was $3, and then some people had it dropped to $2.75, $2.50, or $2.25. That stinks. That is not good. We shouldn't be doing anything for under $3. Hell, I wish DoorDash base pay was $5, but again, I don't want to get into all that. I'm just talking about what our current reality is. So my base pay in DoorDash used to be $3. That's what it was for as long as I can remember. And then my base pay in my area got dropped to $2.75. But that is still better than Uber Eats. So getting into the base pay, I looked at my last 10 DoorDash orders and the last 10 Uber Eats orders that I completed. Now, these are all from lunch or dinner. It's a mixture of lunch or dinner. There's no breakfast, early morning in there. I say that because the majority of larger tips are found during dinner time, because usually if people are ordering dinner, it could be for the whole family, which means the tip could be higher because the customer is spending more at the restaurant. So I have my notes. I'm going to be looking down here. DoorDash, 9 out of the 10 orders that I did were all $2.75. The one that had a higher base pay, it was $4.50 because it was a shop and deliver at Walgreens. I had to go and pick up one item. It was a foot fungal cream for a customer, and the base pay was $4.50. And I do believe that the base pay for all shop and deliver is $4.50 and above. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong, but at least in my market, it looks like all shop and deliver base pays on DoorDash are $4.50. So for Uber Eats, the base pay is all over the place, and I do invite you guys to check. If you look in your earnings and you look at the detailed section, please look at your earnings and see how low the base pay is. Out of the last 10 deliveries on Uber Eats, the average base pay on Uber Eats was $2.37. 3 of those orders, the base pay was $2. Also on Uber Eats, 3 of my orders out of the 10 had a trip supplement added to it. That really means I had a base pay of $1.96 with a 4-cent trip supplement. And another one had a $1.99 base pay with a 1-cent supplement. A penny? Come on now. So what Uber considers a trip supplement here is directly from their website. It says it is added to make every delivery worthwhile. So I'm glad that the 4 cents and the 1 cent made my trip worthwhile. A trip supplement payment takes into account many factors to make sure trip earnings are reflective of that trip, such as when we notice the total time and distance, including your travel time to a restaurant, is longer than expected. So I always do hit, if I enter the establishment and the order is not ready, I immediately hit the not ready button so that I assume a timer starts. I don't know. But that is what they say a trip supplement is. How they got 1 penny or 4 cents as my trip supplements, I have no idea. But I think I could have done without the 4 cents and the 1 cent, and it still would have been worthwhile because of the tip. Speaking of tips, there is so much talk. I see so many people on Facebook, Reddit, YouTube saying that they love Uber Eats because Uber Eats pays better. In my understanding, from the research that I've done, from doing it for almost a year, Uber Eats does not pay better. The customers on Uber Eats seem to tip better. Why is that? A little bit more on that later. The last 10 orders I did on DoorDash, the average tip was $3.60. And out of the last 10 on Uber Eats, the average tip was $6.64. That is quite a difference. So again, 10 orders on DoorDash, the base pay earned me $29.25, and the 10 tips earned me $36 even, for a total of $65.25, which I earned on DoorDash, which means I earned about $6.25 per order on DoorDash. So on Uber Eats, the Uber Eats base pay on 10 orders earned me $23.72, and the tips on the last 10 Uber Eats orders I did totaled $66.43, earning me a grand total of $90.15, which averaged $9.01 per delivery on Uber Eats. So my theory on why Uber Eats customers tip better is just because of how the app prompts you to tip. I used Uber Eats as a customer twice within the last week and DoorDash once within the last week. The way that DoorDash prompts the customer to tip is just a very basic $3, $4, $5. It's not percentage based, it looks like. And then they have a tab where you can hit other and put in a custom tip. Now, Uber Eats, on the other hand, is a little bit more respectful of drivers, and they prompt, I think, a little bit more to tip the drivers. So here you can see it says, show your support with a tip. Delivery people are critical to our communities at this time. Add a tip to say thanks. So they even get a little playful and creative with it, where it says, cheers to you, $3, you're great for $4, thank you so much for $5, you're my hero for $6, and then custom. So I, of course, always do a custom tip and give as much as I can to hopefully give a smile to that driver that day. Also, knowing that the higher the tip, Uber Eats hides tips above $8 and DoorDash hides tips above I don't know what, because I can't figure them out anymore. But I always want to give a tip that I assume is going to be hidden so that it ends up being a nice surprise for the driver that day, whether it be on Uber Eats or DoorDash. I also think Uber Eats may tend to tip better because if a customer feels so inclined, it's so much easier to adjust your tip on Uber Eats, where you can see the edit button where you can edit the tip very easily after delivery. Unfortunately too, they could take it away and you could get tip baited. But in my almost year of doing Uber Eats, I've only been tip baited once. I remember the name of the woman and I remember the business she works at, so she is on my no more deliver list. On DoorDash, as far as I can tell, it pops up for you to rate the driver with 1 through 5 stars, and then you can hit all the buttons that say what went well. But there's nowhere easily identifiable to up your tip unless, I guess, you hit the help button. And I forgot to do it when I was acting as a customer, but I've heard that it's a bit more difficult to change your tip or up the tip after a DoorDash delivery. If you guys have any experience with that, please let me know in the comments down below. So those are just a few of the reasons why I think the Uber Eats app prompts the customer to tip better, just because of the way that they lay it out, the way that they word it, and how it's so easy to adjust your tip during the delivery and after the delivery. On DoorDash, it's fine, but it's just a very basic tip your driver section. It doesn't make it creative like Uber Eats does. Can that be marketing kind of playing a mind game on the customer? Very well could be, but that is why I think Uber Eats customers tend to tip a little bit better. But that doesn't answer the question of the base pay and why everybody seems to ignore the Uber Eats base pay. I have to find some screenshots. I've had add-on orders for Uber Eats. I'll accept an order and then I'll get an add-on for $1.50, $1.84. I mean, that's not even $2. That is so insulting that we would do anything. They think we would do anything. Go to a different restaurant, go to a different house for $1.84. Come on now, Uber. Here are some of the base pays from my last 10 Uber Eats trips. $2, $2.16, $2.05, $2.22, $2.24. Why is everyone so concerned about DoorDash? It's all DoorDash, DoorDash, DoorDash. I never hear about Uber Eats. I am not being an Uber Eats hater. I like DoorDash because they give me good orders sometimes. I like Uber Eats because they give me good orders sometimes. I prefer Uber Eats because the app is so much easier. There's so many less steps to decline an order. It doesn't give you have to be at the restaurant at this time, you have to drop off at this time. It's just so much more lenient and so much more user-friendly, in my opinion, between DoorDash versus Uber Eats. All of you out there who multi-app, and all of you other YouTubers or people who watch other gig tubers, why is it that DoorDash is always a center of attention when Uber Eats seems to get off the hook all the time? Also, I'm not on Grubhub yet, I'm still on a waiting list, but Grubhub also, the content doesn't seem to be out there as plentiful as DoorDash content. And I know that the biggest gripe about Grubhub is that they don't show the mileage, although I think it was starting this week, certain markets, they are actually showing the mileage now on Grubhub orders. So, does this mean that Grubhub is now the perfect app? Because as far as I know, there are no hidden tips on Grubhub. The pay that is on the offer screen is a pay that you get, and now that it's showing miles, is Grubhub now the perfect app? I don't know. Let me know out there, those of you that do Grubhub. I don't want to start an Uber Eats. I'm not trying to start an Uber Eats strike. I'm not trying to hate on Uber Eats, but the more I look at the details of my orders after I completed on Uber Eats and see some of the base pay, I'm very confused why DoorDash gets the bad rap and Uber Eats gets off the hook. Please explain that to me below. Give me your opinion, I really want to know. And lastly, speaking of DoorDash and Uber Eats, I want to talk about multi-apping really quickly. So there's been a lot of talk lately about multi-apping, and multi-apping is a game changer. I guess maybe it's my own ignorance that I just assumed everybody multi-apped or knew how to multi-app if they had more than one app. So to me, I also think people have different definitions of what multi-apping means. To me, it simply means turning all of my apps on. So right now I have Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart, Shipt, and I have Dumpling. But Dumpling is scheduled differently than any of the other apps are. So I will turn on every single app, and whichever one has the best order at that time, I will complete that order and turn off all other apps. To some people, I think multi-apping means to them that you get a DoorDash order and an Uber Eats order at the same time and you're completing them at the same time. I would never, ever, ever suggest that to anybody. I did it once and I was so nervous that something was gonna go wrong that, I just wouldn't do it again. It was actually from the same restaurant, so it was Panera. I accepted a DoorDash and I went in there forgetting that I didn't turn off Uber Eats. The DoorDash Panera order wasn't ready, so as I was waiting, an Uber Eats offer came in and it was for Panera. And I hit accept because they were going to the same area, and then shortly thereafter the DoorDash order was ready and I did both. They were both going in the same direction and it was fine. But I know people say that you can multi-app and do DoorDash and Uber Eats orders at the same time. If you know your market, you know your restaurants, you know the streets, but you can know everything as best as you possibly can, but you never know what could happen. You may have, I'll keep using Panera as an example, that 99% of the time the orders are ready and you're like, I'm gonna go in there and take an Uber Eats and DoorDash and a Grubhub at the same time. Well, maybe something happened. Maybe they're short-staffed. Maybe they ran out of something, and that's going to slow you down. And I worry that this could be cause for deactivation, especially with DoorDash, because they are more strict with the time, where you can get a contract violation if you're super late. So I am not judging anybody who multi-apps by doing orders at the same time from different apps. It's just not something that I would ever personally do again. I tried it once and I learned that it's not for me. So I'm curious, those of you out there, how many apps do you run? Do you multi-app? Does multi-apping mean to you having multiple apps on at the same time and choosing the best order that comes through and pausing all the other apps? Or are you out there taking multiple orders from multiple apps at the same time? I think there's a bit of confusion out there as to what multi-apping means, and it means different things to different people. But for me, it just means turning on all apps and kind of taking in whatever the best offer is at the time, and either pausing DoorDash, turning off Uber Eats, so I can complete that order and go on with my day. I also hear from some people that Uber Eats, that they keep it on all day long because they think going online and offline, they think that there's somehow a prioritized list of the drivers who are online longer, that they get the offers first. I have never found that to be true in my market. I turn Uber Eats on and off constantly when I am doing a DoorDash order, and I can turn Uber Eats back on after being turned off for the 5th or 6th time, and I'll get a great order right away. There's been days where I've had Uber Eats on for 4 hours in a row and I get horrible offers or no offers at all. So I don't think that that is true, at least not in my experience and in my market. So a lot of people out there think that they are learning the algorithms of these apps, or that the apps favor certain things that drivers do. I haven't found that to be true for me, and I'm just stating that for me, I don't think that's true at all. I think a lot of people overcomplicate these apps, and for me, I just look at these apps like, I'm gonna turn it on, I'm gonna go to an area that has great restaurants, great options of restaurants, and hope for the best. But, you know, I don't know about tricking the algorithm, or if your acceptance rate is higher, you'll get more orders. If you stay online for Uber Eats and don't go on and off, you're gonna get more orders. I haven't found any of that to be true, but I am very curious if you guys have found any of that to be true for your experience and your market. So that is pretty much it for this video. I wanted to just talk about my experience with Uber Eats base pay versus DoorDash base pay, and why DoorDash seems to be the rotten child of the gig economy, where Uber Eats gets off pretty clean, in my opinion, from what I see out there. But Uber Eats base pay is horrible. And I am so thankful, though, that Uber Eats customers do tip pretty well. I don't know why that is, aside from some of the reasons I listed. But again, that's just my own speculation. I'm not saying any of this is fact. It's just what I think. And then there's been so much talk about multi-apping lately, and I just wanted to know what multi-apping means to you, and why all of a sudden multi-apping seems to be such a hot topic, when I just assumed that everybody who had more than one app did multi-apping. I'd like to know where people's heads are at and how other people view things in the gig economy. So please leave a lot of comments down below. Give me all your opinions, give me your advice, give me the tips and tricks that work for you, or things that you think you may have found that help you with the gig apps algorithms, and so on. So if you guys made it this far in the video, I thank you so much for watching. Please give it a like if you liked it, comment. I really want to hear from you guys, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.